share more than emojis. With ChitChat, sending USD is as simple as messaging. Anywhere, anytime. Get a virtual card and USD wallet and send money directly in your chats. Join the thousands of people taking control of their money and start chatting and transacting today. ChitChat. Download now.
Dun 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 dun.
We are back like Masana.
You're seizing the lane.
Yes, I am.
Wow.
Because I was right.
So let's rub it in every episode. 4 weeks in a row now. Wow.
We're back like Masana another week.
Such a
This
little
episode was pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't go the way that I thought it would.
Why? Because she turned out to be smarter than you expected she was?
Yes, I did, actually.
Yeah, I figured that much.
And that the same thing happened. You didn't expect it to go that way, did you?
There's no good to be that smart. Even the first episode she was
So
off.
how then did you go straight to that?
Because I know how you think.
Right.
And I know whenever you deem a guest not to be too smart, you show up late. That's why you're early today.
Is it early?
You think, Elson?
What time did we agree to start?
9.
What time did you get here?
A little after 9.
That's as early as it gets with us.
Okay. How bad does it get? Yeah.
Why are you putting me on the spot?
Uh,
That's what we're doing now.
We've had to wait long hours.
It's one of those,
Yeah.
you know, like growing up, whenever you'd get visitors,
Start snitching.
that one sibling that just gets overexcited and starts snitching.
Well, this is him.
That's him right now.
But there's always that one sibling who can't read numbers.
That's him
I
again.
can't tell time.
Oh, man. What a week. Before we start, I need to put this phone far, far away. And I need to take this one out. Big shout out to Techno, our good friends, still supporting us, still going strong. They're celebrating 10 years in Zambia.
Yep.
They will have a very special party around July 10th,
Oh.
which you are invited to.
Oh, great.
Yeah, you got goodies
Let's do this.
and money, which is your favorite language.
Of course.
Yep. And right behind Perseus, brothers, Big Tree.
Yep.
Are you going to thank everybody again, the whole department?
No. I think they saw the episode where I thanked them and that was enough. Yeah, but thanks a lot to Big
And the ones
Bridget.
you left out felt
No. I
unaware about it.
actually went over. There are 3 people in the department.
Security guards and all.
Next time, yeah. So anyway, shout out to Big Tree for making this episode possible and every other episode for the past 1 year and some change.
And another year to come.
And another year to come. 4 exciting flavors. Have you tried their flavors before? Big Tree beverages?
Yeah.
The mocktails?
Give me the taste.
We've got pina colada, we've got Cosmo, we've got strawberry lime, and we've got mojito. So 4 exciting flavors that you can try out right now.
Tell me which one you like. I'll send it to your office.
Okay.
He was a whole truck load.
Cool.
We can actually send a whole truckload.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's its spec.
We have. Yes. What is that? Is that a lot?
No, we
Do
could.
you know how much money this man has?
We could send him a truckload. He doesn't listen. This would buy half the factory. All I'm saying is, we could still send him a truckload of mocktails.
Yeah, that we can.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you made it seem like a 6-pack was a lot.
No, like a little. I said a 6-pack only.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, he's much nicer than you're giving credit for. Yeah?
No, because he heard me say you've got money. This guy's like a bird. He would say, right now, don't be surprised if he starts twerking.
Who?
Him. Now that he knows you've got money.
Do that. We're in a Christian nation, okay? Don't do that yet.
It's a nation with a lot of wrong things trending. But anyway, story for another day.
Yeah.
Nelson,
Yes?
are you going to introduce our guest today?
No.
All right, cool.
So I met this guy. His name came up to me. I'm trying to figure out how we met.
That was a few years ago.
That was a couple of years ago. But your name was...
Were you at Vodafone at some point?
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. But I was always in fintech and telecoms. I'm trying to think. No, it wasn't. Because I don't know why I'm thinking it was Harton Maliki. But that was after I already known you.
Was it Gondwe? One at MTN?
It must have been.
Yeah.
But you came highly recommended, and people were like, "There's this really smart person you need to speak to," and you did live up to the expectation.
Okay, thank you.
So I met Perseus a couple of years ago. Your office was actually here.
Yeah. So our first office was behind where we are in Meraki.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just really beautiful office, just like completely open space.
Is that what you call it?
What?
Beautiful.
It is.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Actually, Meraki is where we are.
Yeah.
The one in Rose Park, and they tell me that they are starting to offer Nshima at the Rose Park branch. So check it out. I'll read a couple of what they sent to me. They sent in the wrong phone, which I'll have to cover the back off.
And also, they're about to serve us breakfast. So let me know, see comments in the comment section right now telling me I rushed to the food when it came. I'm telling you in advance, there's food coming, and I'll be eating it immediately. It touches the table
Because he's breaking his fast.
Yes.
That's why I feed you, bro.
No, today I said we're going to Marrakech, so don't give me breakfast. I'm eating from Marrakech.
So yeah, that was Zazu that you started with, right?
Yeah. So the first company or the first product we started was called Zazu. And we started that because we just realized that a lot of people were struggling to keep up with their spending. And what we wanted to do with Zazu was to develop a simple way where you can have a quick look and understand exactly how you're spending your money. But as you know, it's not an easy process to get started. So yeah, especially where we are on the continent, you have to really work twice as hard than anybody else.
I want to take it back. Right up until when Zazu then came back to a young Perseus, born in Zim, I'm guessing.
Born in Zim?
Which part?
Harare. Bode Mutare.
Wait,
I'm just used to saying Harare because when I meet people,
they don't know
they
Mutare.
don't know Mutare.
So you just say Harare.
Harare to just get it over with.
But you don't have the accent though.
Neither do you.
Because I wasn't born in Mutare. The accent that I'm talking about is the...
Lindau.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have that when you speak Shona.
Yeah, but because I left quite early when I'm buying, yeah.
Before
But
you
you don't have a Zim accent either.
Because I did not spend so much time in Zim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys didn't get in diamonds?
No,
No, are you sure?
0.
Okay, so born in Mutare, grew up in Harare.
Yeah. Born in Mutare, spent some time in Kwekwe, in Gokwe.
You just
in
feel
Lawayo.
gold and diamonds. Because there's gold in Kwekwe.
So I grew up in a lot of mining towns. So I was born in Tare in Penalonga because my dad used to work there. Lived in Gokwe, lived in Kwekwe, lived in Gweru. You know, I was counting with my son. I went to 24 different schools in my life.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So we're always moving. So
Your dad must not have liked you much.
he also had to move 24 different times. So it's not like I have one particular school where I spent more than 2 years, for example.
How do you not have attachment issues?
Who says I don't?
Because you would not get attached to any friends.
Yeah, so that's like a big, yeah. We're working through that.
So, I mean, you're married, so clearly you don't have attachment issues.
Married,
Are you still married?
Yeah, married.
Okay.
3 kids.
Okay.
Yeah, no more.
So, at what point did you leave Zim? And where to?
When I left Sim, I was around 12, 13, when my parents moved to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about this at the time. I spent half of my life in Zim and half of my life in the UK up until I decided to come here. So I went to the UK, finished my A-levels, went to university, and then started working. I was working in El Salvador at some point.
El Salvador?
Yeah. I was a pioneer. I was the first black person that a lot of people from that particular town of San Salvador had met. So I'd often get people coming to me.
Trying to touch your hair?
Trying to touch my hair, trying to touch my skin, see if it's going to melt.
Are you serious?
And
how many of them did you clap? Be honest.
No, you can't clap people for being curious. They were really curious and they were asking really good questions about my culture, where I'm from, how I'm different to them.
So they start hiding their wallets and stuff?
No. Like, I was coming from the UK, so
I was hiding my wallet. No, but you're black first.
So?
Yeah, all the stereotypes.
No, they're stereotypes, but for most people, when they think about a black person, they would often ask about Will Smith.
What about him? Do you know Will Smith?
Will Smith.
And would you say he's my brother?
No, he's my brother-in-law.
I would say the same thing too. In the Lord.
There you go.
So, what, did you go from the UK to El Salvador and then back to the UK?
So I finished studying my master's, then went to El Salvador for a few months, and then went to the UK for a month. I went to Geneva, where I was an intern at the UN.
Wait, how could you afford to do all? Was your dad?
No, it was just like hustling. So when I went to El Salvador, it was this excellent program that the government in the UK were doing, where they get young people to go work abroad to get experience in different cultures. If you want to pursue something in development, so you do that.
Kind of like what happened to me. The university that I went to in Pretoria, they took me to Belgium for almost the same reason.
Okay, you went to university?
It doesn't show.
You have a passport? So I got back with Elsa.
What's the name again? Perseus.
What's your name again? You didn't even introduce yourself. Kalenga.
Perseus.
Perseus. Yeah.
Have a Greek name.
Yes. Greek
like
name.
A Greek god.
Like a Greek god. My sister is called Andromeda.
No, you lie.
No, seriously. My son is called Ulysses.
What's up with you guys in Greek gods and myths? Yeah. What's up with you guys in Greek gods and myths?
There's a lot of history there. So my parents, when they met, they were reading the same book about Perseus. This was like a long time ago.
I was telling him when I spoke to him yesterday that Dr. Umar will not be proud of him.
You keep mentioning Dr. Umar.
He's got a white wife. He's got a very, very, very white wife.
Very Italian.
They're long hair, blue eyes.
Forget about Dr. Omar. Do what makes you happy in life, bro.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so pissing off Elson is one of those things.
And you do that extremely well.
Does Elson have a
Having a conversation with this guy on the phone is extremely painful.
Serious, eh?
It's excruciating. All right, so at what point and why did you decide to come to Zambia?
So I was doing an internship at the High Commissioner for Refugees, and that came to an end. And I was like, you know what? I've spent half of my life.
What were you doing there?
I was working in the ethics office. So there was a lot of sexual exploitation for refugees in refugee camps. So people would start like an inquiry trying to see who's done what, trying to come up with policies to stop people abusing like travel expenses. So I was kind of assisting in doing the research, trying to look at report cases, and also helping people book their travel. So a lot of very senior people will be traveling, and it will be up to me to make sure that all of their documents are in order.
Right.
So it's a lot of experience. And after that finished, I was like, you know what? I've kind of like been at the very high. I don't know what I'm going to do next. So let me go back to Zim and check it out, see what's going on. Because I hadn't been. When I left the UK, I was like...
And how old were you at this time?
I must have been around 25, 26.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I left the UK, go to Zim on the same program that I went to El Salvador with. I went to Zimbabwe for that, working in Nyanga, which is like this beautiful,
man.
Very beautiful.
Very mountainous.
Like, you've got Troutbeck in, like, man, all of those places. You got Vumba.
They actually shot the last episode of the Grand Tour.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. At World's End.
Yeah. So that was Top Gear, yeah?
Yeah, so that's like a beautiful part of the world. So as soon as my wife sees this, she's going to say, we haven't been yet. So
You haven't taken her there?
Expenses, man. Like,
What are you...
I thought you said he's rich.
Bruh, don't worry, we're getting into it.
Oh, this is how the rich stay rich, though.
We're getting into
This is how the rich stay
Worry
rich.
not.
Uh,
Carry on.
Anyway, so I went there. I was working on the border of Mozambique and Zimbabwe, staying in this Catholic.
A very famous border.
Yeah, the very famous one.
Do you know why I'm saying that, right?
Why? Oh no, I don't.
Okay.
What makes it famous again?
Eh?
Anyway, your story.
Yeah.
Your story.
So I was working there on this program, trying to come up with like programs for nutrition for people who might not otherwise have good access. So how do you? One of the things that we did was set up like an aqua. I can't remember what it's called now. Aquaponics.
What is that?
So you get like a tank, you put fish underneath,
Yeah.
and then the fish they recycle their waste into the vegetables that are growing
On the top.
on top.
That's smart.
That was very cool, man. That was the first time I got interested in technology because we had to buy a lot of pads which were not available in Zimbabwe. So we had to order from the UK. Then they came over there. So we set it up over like 6 months.
Also that difficult,
It was interesting.
like with the whole foreign exchange thing.
Sorry, just okay.
Yeah.
Hold just a little bit there. Just a bit of digression.
Yeah.
I'm a little curious on the recycling fish waste and using it to feed plants.
Yeah.
How does that work? Does the fish poop float, or is there like a mechanism that's picking up the poop?
There's a pump.
Right.
The fish and they're depositing their waste into the water and you take that and it gets flown back into the plants. So the plants are growing in this like hybrid environment with no soil because the water is coming from it's coming rich in nutrients. So what you end up with is like you can grow lettuce, you can grow tomatoes, you can grow like carrots and it happens so
incredible.
quickly.
But is it like a sustainable model? Like you can do it like a large scale, commercial scale kind of
A
thing?
lot of people do, especially in the Netherlands. Okay, so there's quite a few people who have been doing that, even here in Zambia.
I was about to ask, are there any people here that you've seen that are doing it?
Yeah, I've seen quite a few because it's something that I've always wanted to do eventually because when we did it, it was just very exciting.
Yeah.
Very new.
Yeah.
I don't know if that project's still going on, but I would love for it to still be there.
Okay.
Okay. You know.
So what, did you then leave Zim back to the UK? And how did you find Zim so many years later?
For me, it was,
So it's home, I know.
yeah, it was nice to be back and to kind of like rediscover exactly where I came from and go through the kind of like the motions of somebody who just come back. You got so many high hopes, but
Did you have the accent when you got back to Zim?
which accent?
The UK accent. Like, innit?
I've always spoken like this. I never had any accent.
You have an accent right now, sir.
Anyway, went there and then living in this like very isolated village.
Wait, in Nyanga.
In Yanga, Regina Cheli.
Okay.
It's quite deep. So there was a period where there was a lot of typhoid and cholera going on.
I remember that.
Yeah. So using our interest in tech from this fish project, we developed a way to send SMSs in bulk to people. So we send SMSs to like pregnant women to say, please don't come to the hospital because there's a risk of infection, or don't come like 3 months early. You need to come at your appointed date. So that's the first kind of like software that we developed at that point.
Bulk SMSs.
Bulk SMSs. And then
What year was this?
must have been 2014 going into 2015.
Okay, because I remember working around the same thing. I was working with a company called Datacom.
Datacom, okay.
Yeah. And we were doing something similar.
What, in Zim?
Yeah. In Zim.
Look at you. Learning so many new things about you. You went to university, you've got a passport.
Imagine
worked
that.
successfully.
I've been on a plane.
You've been on a plane.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
He might tell you he's got money as well.
Elsa.
Let's wait for that.
He's got, you know who Elson is?
Tell us.
I know some stuff about Elsa, right? We can get into it. We can get into it.
No. It's your show.
No, you don't know anything.
Not
your show.
Elsa.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your show.
We can
Keep going.
Yeah, so we developed this SMS and then the hospital loved it because it's what used to happen was people who were pregnant would want to come and spend like 2 months sleeping on the ground of the hospital so that they don't get caught by surprise and deliver the baby at home.
Yeah.
But this was a problem because you have to feed these people, you have to look after them. So we developed like a simple booking mechanism where we say, Elson, please come back to the hospital. Your growth hormones are now available, as an example. And it was amazing that they loved it. So we applied for a grant from the Americans who were doing like health projects, and we got the grant. Then we started to think to ourselves, what else can we apply these use cases for? So one of the things that we did was to then start contacting smallholder farmers and would say, hey, there's this supermarket in Mutare and they're willing to pay $4,000 for 100 kilograms of potatoes. So that became like a marketplace where people like Elson would then say, oh, I'm growing potatoes. They're going to be ready on 6 weeks from now. But you end up with like this database.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It was amazing. And when we started to trial out, the first transaction we made was sold for like $40,000 to a big supermarket, right, in Harare. So we hire a truck, we get the potatoes, send them over there, and then they pay us cash. Then we take that cash and then distribute it to the farmers. And then we try to do it again for the second time, but they say, oh, we can't pay you cash this time. You're going to have to wait like 6 weeks or 7 weeks. And we've got like the merchandise we've taken from the people.
Oh, and they're expecting cash.
Paid.
Yeah.
And now you have to start explaining.
Right.
That, okay.
And the African mind is going to think you shoot their money.
Correct. It's like, especially you. Where are you from? Take this.
So you did think you chewed their money, did
You should learn that accent. That's my point.
And the British accent is slowly coming out. Have you noticed? The British accent is slowly coming out. Have you
I
noticed?
did not think we chewed their money because we'd done a lot of good work. So they were very patient.
Right.
But it did give us a good insight. Like, if you want to digitize a lot of this trade, you're going to have to think about the logistics. How do you move the food from the farmer to the buyer? How do you do quality assurance? More importantly, how are you collecting those payments and how are you distributing them to the farmers? So we took that insight, went back to the UK where we fundraised for £150,000 from a lot of like really incredible angel investors who like what we're doing. So we raised that money and then developed this payments infrastructure, which then became Zazu. So when we developed Zazu, we're kind of like in the UK trying to think about where to go in Africa. So we did research. We looked at South Africa. We looked at Zimbabwe. We looked at Zambia. We did like a very big spreadsheet. And
Wait, so that was the 150,000 that you got, correct? Which you then came to open up Zazu didn't. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the research that we did just pointed to Zambia as like the best place to have that kind of business.
Why?
So I'm from Zim, with like Zambian heritage. So one of the things that happened,
What heritage?
you were.
Don't eat with me. What heritage?
I'm also curious now.
Zambian
Sorry, Perseus, I'm curious.
So mother side. Yeah.
Was your mom from Zim or her?
Zambia.
Your mom was
Grandmother is from Zambia.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's Zambian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which part?
Elson, what's going on? Is this an Inquisition?
Yes, it is.
So I'm back in us on this land, sorry.
From the Copper Belt.
He's from the Copper Belt.
Yeah, really? Maybe we're not related. Yeah, anyway. So we were looking at, obviously, being Zimbabwean, one of the things that happened when I was a kid was the whole, like, currency issues, I think. I don't know how old you're, like 50, 65? How many currencies have you seen from Zimbabwe in your lifetime?
Lots. The bond notes.
I don't know, start from the beginning. When you were a kid, what currency did you use?
You remember like when the $2 was
With
blue?
the $2, yeah?
Yeah, you remember that?
When dollars,
The
right?
Zimbabwean dollar and the $10 was red.
And the pangolin,
And right, the note.
yeah? So
Right.
that's one.
Yeah.
And then after that, what happened?
That's when the economy crashed, I think.
Correct.
Right.
And a lot of people lost a lot of money.
Oh.
Yeah, you would go to a bank and they wouldn't have anything to give you.
Yeah, I remember that. And then Gono came in.
Yeah. And they introduced, I can't remember, it's not Zig. Zig is the latest one.
No, Zig is the latest one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know at what stage they introduced the bond notes.
Yeah, the bond notes.
And I remember when the bills used to get to like $10 billion. Do you remember? Were you in Zim at that time?
Yeah, so I wasn't, but my son has got one which is stuck on his wall.
10 billion.
I think it's 1 billion. 1 billion.
And I remember
Zimbabwean
note was just 1 trillion.
So yeah,
I think I remember being in Zimbabwe.
one.
Yeah, I remember being in Zimbabwe at some point, early 2000s, and we were camping and I couldn't find a torch. So I went to one of the shops in town. I think I bought a torch for like 20 billion or something. I was mind blown. Like, I'm a billionaire here, you know? Right.
You'd get people going to buy bread with wheelbarrows of cash.
Okay, that never happened.
It did.
No, that never happened.
Google it. You'll find the pictures.
No, that never happened.
Google it.
They're not buying bread. If they
not
have a
buying
will,
bread.
yeah.
Anyway, my point is there's that difficult experience that we've all been through where things that you take for granted can just quickly disappear.
You know what else I remember? I remember back in the day when Zambia also had like a really bad economy, and I remember Zambians coming to Zim
For holiday,
to buy groceries as well.
like holiday, education. Remember that trade fair? I remember that. It was very popular with a lot of Zambians here.
Yeah.
People would go from Zambia to holiday in Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe at the time was in like pristine condition.
Yeah.
Like if you drive on Independence Avenue here, that's what Zimbabwe used to look like. Got these beautiful streets with these jacaranda trees.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember precisely when Zim started to go to shit. I remember specifically around which period.
Yeah.
And that was around the war vets issue.
Correct.
When they wanted to get paid. I don't know where you were at that time.
I was quite young, actually. What
More.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. You're quite young? Yeah, you guys have more millionaires per capita than Zambia, but yet infrastructure-wise, every time he talks about Zim, it's a sad story.
It is.
Like, I don't get how there's so much money in the economy, but there's not much money working for the economy of the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so this is one of the things, it's just kind of like beautiful and sad at the same time, because of that experience where devaluation happened and people lost a lot of money. What it has forced people to go into is like ways to be financially independent.
Innovation.
Yeah. Like you need difficult times to be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
There's this saying, sort of like a cycle, where it says,
Weak men, weak times.
good times. How does it go?
Good times create weak men.
Weak men.
Yeah.
And weak men create difficult times. Tough times.
Yeah.
Tough times create
Hard men.
Strong men.
strong men.
Yeah.
And the cycle just keeps
Correct.
I think it's our children who are going to be the weak kids. We came
so?
from,
our children.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I really think so.
No.
And I'll tell you why.
We are soft, to be honest. Our parents were.
No. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
We are coming from an era where our parents spanked us.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Oh, you were spanked. That was cute.
I was we were baits. And when last did you beat up Eli?
I've never.
And we're not going to produce weak kids?
No. Because there's other ways to attain what I wanted from Eli other than beating up.
Which are what?
Talking. Okay.
How old
That's
is it?
how we produce weak kids.
He's 8.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to produce weak kids. I don't think so. I really do think so. Well, I think we're coming from an era. Dude, we've spoken about how our fathers were these tough men. You know what I mean? When your father enters the house, I'm sure it was the same for you guys in Zim. In the 90s, 80s.
Just for sitting on his sofa.
You see what I mean? Your father would enter the house and you just know, okay, that's our cue to go to the bedroom. In his living room now, he's watching the news, his newspaper. And now I'm sure your father hardly showed up for any sports day events at your school.
Assuming I played sports.
Or whatever activities you had at your school.
No, but that just because you guys are earning in dollars and you're comfortable doesn't mean you have to be weak with your children. I think you have to show them discipline.
No,
it's your job as a
I'm
father.
just talking about in that cycle that we've brought up. I think we're now at that time where we're going to have kids who are going to really mess up. And we're creating the good times now.
Correct.
We are creating the good times. There's more money in the economy. And I think we're making more money than our parents did.
Are we creating the good times though, really?
Yes, we are.
Aren't we messing it up more than how we found it?
I don't think so. Dude, we're now in the era of...
Yeah.
We're now in the... what are we calling it? Upper industrial age? What are we calling this age now? Internet age?
In what way?
The information age?
Post-industrialization.
Yes.
Yeah.
The information age.
Like
And
the
I
Gen
think
Zs.
in the information age, we're seeing more and more people making more and more money. And I think we are in the good time era. I don't know, what's your assumption?
I mean, I agree. There's never been like a better time like where we are right now.
Yeah.
But better, you look at to the future, there's so many threats which are coming our way that we are not prepared for. And as a result, we have to start thinking about longitudinally, how do we prepare ourselves as men? How do we prepare our societies? How do we prepare our children? Because as we speak, there are self-driving cars going around in California. You get into a car, you don't speak to anybody, and it takes you to a location. That's a lot of jobs which have been decimated, a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And in your lifetime, your children, that's probably going to happen here, that they can't work for Yango or for Uber or whatever. And as a result, you have to make sure that they're prepared, like to be able to find jobs in a world which is being threatened by a lot of like tech advancements.
Absolutely. And to add more to your point, we are at that age right now where children cannot spell.
Yeah,
Because technology does that for them.
correct.
Right? They use ChatGPT for their homework, etc. Where you and I had to read a book to acquire the knowledge that we have, they simply Google it.
Yeah.
That just justifies my point. We are in that age then.
No, but again, my point is, I feel, depending on, because you're saying we're either good times, I feel we're actually right now
Cusp of
effing
bad
it up.
times?
Yes, effing it up right now, because we are gonna have, just like I've said, kids who can't spell for anything.
Well, 90% of 10-year-olds in Zambia cannot read at like a competitive level globally.
Absolutely.
So there's like a walking crisis that we're going into, but it's not too late to reverse that. I think there's a lot more emphasis that needs to be put into like educating children, like doing the same thing that you guys went through, learning to spell, learning to read, learning to write.
Yeah.
And obviously being exposed to like new technologies. Like it's not dire.
Your kid is quite good at spellings, eh? He was there reader last year.
Yeah.
You won't believe what you would be so proud of my first one, the one that you...
Tell me that I like.
I know you like the second one,
Yeah.
but the first one, you semi like her, like it's lukewarm love.
What's the issue?
But she'll impress you. She's top in IT.
Eli too.
For serious?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, that's incredible.
Can we just go back to the issue where you lukewarm like her? Like,
I've got three daughters, right?
okay.
So he likes the middle one because she's got this crazy sense of humor, and that's
She's got a certain sense of humor.
she has that sense of humor. Yeah, she's not dirty, but just witty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What the hell, nigga?
Took you a minute.
So look, Perseus, one thing that I want to sort of find out, because I still want to keep going up until to where you are now, is even when you go to Zim and you are creating this business where you're basically recycling fish poop to grow. You've always had this entrepreneurial mind, or is this couldn't be from your dad because he was employed? Where did you get this?
So one thing that happened, which was kind of formative for me, was to leave Zimbabwe, where I'm like black majority, and then go to the UK, where my brother was like the first black person that the children had seen in that school, to go to an area where it was like a minority student. That kind of like showed me how difficult it was. So when we finished university, I got the same results as a lot of my friend groups, and they got employed way faster than it took me.
Because you're black.
Because I'm black. But not like I'm over that, obviously.
And you were never, woe is me.
No, because it's like I was finishing school, university, and then to figure out what to do. If you've got like two options, do I go live back at home with my parents, or do you try and hit it? Of course. That's why he's got 3 daughters, right? Because
No, I moved back later in life. But later in life, yeah. I left my parents home quite early as well.
yeah. So for me, it was like, what do? I have to make something of it. So that's why I started kind of like making my own way, because there wasn't an option to not do anything else.
Okay. So you go back to the UK, you raise some capital, your research points you to Zambia.
Yeah.
And are you married at this point? Are you dating? What's
So I started the company with my wife, so we're kind of like cohabiting and working on the company.
So at what point did you meet your wife?
I met my wife when I was studying in Leeds. We used to live together in the same flats, and we had the same interests. And then, like over a year, my persistence wore down. And then
See, this is what I always say. Listen, bruh. There's a very thin line between being persistent and sexual harassment.
wow,
A very thin line.
persistent. You are a sexual harassment.
That's my point. Is if she likes, then you're persistent.
Yeah, of course.
Then that's harassment.
And she's got all the evidence in the world. Look at Tyler Perry.
Bingo.
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously there's a thin, it's not a thing, it's quite a fat line. If you're trying it on and it's not landing, and I think you move on. It's like,
So how long were you persistent for?
because we used to live together, and you're trying to get to know each other before you start dating. So
Well, living in the same flat.
yeah, living in the same flat.
So there was a glimmer of hope. Proximity.
I think it's more than proximity. Obviously, proximity helps because you don't have to like follow up and make appointments, or do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, there's this concert happening. Do you want to go? and then you go together and then you have a nice time and then you just continue doing them. Then by the time you start dating, you already know that this person doesn't like this thing. So you're kind of like framed. So for us, it was a very natural progression from being roommates or flatmates into like living together.
So my chama poto.
Eh?
Kuchama poto.
But Elson, this goes everywhere. What are you saying?
Do you know what chama poto is?
No.
So there's a Shona term when you begin to live with your girlfriend. They call it kuchama poto, which really is frowned upon.
It's like a direct translation for cohabitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So, yeah.
Direct translation is beating the pots.
Well, you know what he meant.
Yeah.
Right.
So okay. It's kind of you know how in Zim it is frowned upon. Like, wait, so are you married? No. So are you living with her? Kind of thing.
Yeah. So kind of like naturally progressed from all of that, and then it's eventually starting our own company together. So it's been like a very nice experience.
So what did you think at that time it was a good idea to start a company with your wife?
Girlfriend then.
Girlfriend then, yeah. Or did she have the complexion for the connection?
No.
Is that how you raised the 150,000?
No.
Perseus?
Like she hates you put the cart in the front? No, she hates doing investor calls.
Why is this starting to sound like an interrogation? Did you use your wife's complexion to get those deals?
No.
So I'm channeling my Dr. Umar right now.
There you go. You don't have the hair for it.
No, I don't.
Yeah. So the reason I asked her to join is that she had this interesting degree which she studied international development.
All right.
And she did like a thesis on like electoral violence on land issues in Kenya. And at the time, what we were doing was like trying to connect smallholder farmers. So it was kind of like very natural to what she had studied. So we're doing a lot of research into where are the farmers, what are they growing, where. So it's kind of like very, and she was always better than me at like, I like to come up with new ideas, right? And I like to execute on them. But executing on an idea is more than just like doing the work.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. It's
Tell
like
me about it.
You've got HR issues. It's like you have a discussion with somebody. It doesn't stop at like a handshake. It stops when there's like a formal contract produced and signed. It's about negotiating bonuses. It's about having reviews with people.
Is that what she does in the company?
What she does, right? It's the stuff that she enjoys. It's the stuff where my interest stops. And the stuff that she hates is where my interest starts. So kind of like we're the co-founders of the company. The stuff that I do, which she doesn't do, the stuff that she does.
You complement each other.
In
short.
Yeah.
What the first company was what? Zazu?
Zazu.
Well, you started that while in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay, then looked south, came to Zambia
Then
first.
came to Zambia.
And how was that conversation with her?
Oh, it was exciting.
She was excited?
Yeah, she studied about Kenya and she studied about like electoral violence and everything else. So she was going to end up here with or without me.
Right. Mm-hmm. And have you seen the ish going on in Kenya right now?
Which one?
Are you following?
Exactly a year to the date.
To the protests that happened with those
the tax ones, yeah?
Correct.
The ones last year were about taxes, right? It's about taxes. So one of the reductions in taxes, yeah.
And
yeah, you can. Thank you so much. You know, I like eating the food immediately it touches the table because I like hot eggs. Your eggs are so cold and I wouldn't wish those on my enemies even.
It's okay.
Do you want to eat?
I don't like cold eggs. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so I mean, it's quite serious issues happening in Kenya right now. But again, this is what we were speaking about earlier, that there are so many opportunities which are coming with digital, but there are so many threats that we have to kind of address. Like, how do you get a lot of people into the formal employment sector? How do you stop overtaxing young people so that they can have like a base to be able to grow their future into?
Absolutely. And the Kenyan youths, I've not seen, apart from maybe Egypt, youths that are that resilient, that know the power that they have. If they don't like anything, Jesus, it's almost like they're in one WhatsApp group, bruh.
Or like they're mobilized Arabs.
Yeah.
Like Arab nations, when they speak, it's with one voice.
Correct. But this is kind of where the issues are coming from, because all of these countries have got like pretty significant debts and that they need to be paid. So you need to be able to collect at some point. But it's like making sure that there's a distinction between trying to pay what you owe and trying to overtax people that they've got nothing to survive on after they've worked.
Somebody said trying to grow an economy from taxes is like standing in a bucket and trying to lift it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Why can't countries think more entrepreneurially in order to solve the problems that they have?
Yeah.
Like America.
Or like Ireland. Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
I like Ireland. The Ireland model.
I read about that
Yeah.
as well, yeah.
So if you are an American company and you want to set up into Europe, like you're either going to go to the Netherlands or you're going to go into Ireland, because the tax advantages that you get in those places are pretty significant, that they compete with like all the other European countries.
Apple used to do something in Ireland, right? That's where like the HQ or something was for a long time, yeah?
And I think this is something that we were kind of like pushing for a few years ago after the election. Like, how can we turn Zambia into that, like a Singapore or the island of the continent?
And you just hit on a country that always annoys me when I think about it. So when I think about, Singapore, especially when you read Lee Kuan Yew's book, the first president of Singapore, and how he came to Zambia in the late 60s, early 70s.
He was here.
He came here.
No.
And in his book, he writes about how when he came to Southern Africa, he was asking the countries here how they have sort of developed their countries. The kwacha was, I think, 1-to-1 with the pound. So he was making all these inquiries, and much of what he learned here, he applied to develop Singapore. But look where Singapore is today in comparison to where he learned these things from. Yeah, consistency. And also, I think I've always agreed on this. Democracy is not for a developing country.
I think. Okay, go on before I stop.
Yeah, democracy. We need government structures like Japan and China that are longer term than the 4 or 5 years that democracies have. You know what I mean? Because you come into office today.
Yeah.
First thing you're going to do is start cleaning up whatever mess the previous government left. It's 2 years into it. The time you start working, midterm, you're getting into the groove of working. It's the time for the next election. You forget work, you start campaigning. Not much has happened in terms of development. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So democracy is really quite retrogressive in my opinion.
That's one aspect of it. But when we look at Perseus, myself and yourself possibly, when we're looking at a candidate who we're going to vote for, we're going to apply some level of logic to their policies, right? Our votes would count the same as someone who's given a T-shirt
versus somebody who's really analyzing things.
I can tell where this is going. And I don't agree with you both. I think if you look at African society, we have some natural ways of organization and organizing ourselves that are kind of like being forgotten at the expense of having like one central party. So one thing that I've been very impressed with over the last few years is like the CDF, where instead of making decisions centrally in Lusaka, you kind of like send that money into the districts, into the provinces, and people organize. So if you have a time and you go visit some of these places, you can see where there was no school, there's now a school.
So here's the thing with that is that's the concept. But is the implementation being done according to what the concept is? So the concept is good.
The concept is good, but at the end of the day, I can take Elson to the river, but I can't force Elson to
That's
drink.
precisely my point, right? So yes, so you've just brought up CDF, and we're gonna have what's the permanent secretary
Of
Paulin.
Oh, I don't know
Was supposed to, it was supposed to have him last week, but because of the drama that's happening with ECL, we've then postponed. The concept in itself is good,
Correct.
but is it being carried out the way it was intended to be?
But at that point, that's why you need local active participation in politics, in grassroots politics.
I agree with you.
So if you look at like Xi Jinping, when he was a young person, he was coming up in the ranks and he was obviously like a leader in that community and organizing. So you need more people. You need like 1,000 more young people to come up with like good ideas for the future, good ideas for organizing and mobilizing.
Do you think Zambia has that?
I think every place has got it.
No. I said, do you think Zambia has that?
Yeah, of course.
Do you really think that?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, a few groups where there's a lot of young people who are talking about youth issues. So there's like a youth parliament.
But do you think there's more people that are in such groups that you're talking about, or the most are on Facebook chasing after salacious stuff?
I have a look at the number of young people who ran for like district councillors or councillors. Yeah, you'll be very impressed.
Right.
Yeah.
So you move to...
Just a correction on Lee Kuan Yew. He actually came.
Were you Googling that?
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm a fact. I wasn't too sure.
We don't want the comments to correct you.
Oh, they're quick.
Oh, they're very quick.
They are very. So he actually
Came through twice.
Okay.
When it was Northern Rhodesia.
Yeah.
And when it had just turned to Zambia.
Uh-huh.
And he was making a contrast when the colonizers just left. He said Lusaka was very green when they had just left. And then when he came back 6 years later, Lusaka was less greener than 6 years before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's lessons that he learned still from the Rhodesians. They're called Rhodesians, right?
Yeah.
And the KK government. But anyway, you can read more on...
yeah, and that's quite interesting because one of the things that a lot of people like to talk about is that he'll observe that when people had shima and after lunch they're very hot, they're not productive. So to increase productivity...
As a drug.
To increase productivity, he said every office must have air conditioning. And then as a result, people became more productive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, did you talk about what Zazu is like down to the intricate detail?
No, you can.
I'm trying to understand. Yes, you set up the business Zazu with your wife now. For those just joining us and don't understand what Zazu is, what is Zazu? Because we actually had a cartoon called Zazu back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we started Zazu, we were doing two things. Number one, we wanted to continue our work with the farmers. So we developed something very similar to ChatGPT now, which was using USSD. So you would text it on 619, named after Rey Mysterio, 619. So you'd text it and then you'd say, I want to learn about insurance. And then it would say, what language do you speak? You say, I speak Tonga. So it would say, insurance is in Tonga. Press 1 to continue. This is how you buy insurance. This is how you pay for insurance. And we partnered with FSDZ. So we ended up teaching over 1.1 million people in Zambia about financial literacy. So insurance, saving money, loans, so that they don't get scammed by the Kalowas and the loan sharks. And then we use those insights to then say, there's so many people who are looking for financial services. So we need to develop a middle ground between a mobile wallet and a bank. We don't want to become a bank because the requirements are too expensive and you end up with a lot more work than you're willing to do. So let's develop something where farmers can use, students can use, experts can use. So we developed Zazu, which is a mobile wallet connected to a debit card where you can swipe the card at ShopRite. You can pay with the card on Netflix. But the one thing that it does better than anybody else, it then gives you like a graph, which is so easy to read. You take a look at it and you see, where have I spent my money?
Okay.
Yeah. Because what I'm interested in when I look at all the finance apps that I use, like maybe 3 or 4 things, how much money do I have? And if you're using a bank, there's always like a bit of a confusion. You have an actual balance and a pending balance. Maybe there's like $100 opening balance, whatever. So you have $200. Then $100 you can't use, but you still see that. So for me, when I'm trying to pay, that gives me like anxiety. Like, is this going to go through? Is it not going to go through? How much do I actually have? How much do I have? That's all I want to know. And then when I'm using the product, I want to see how much have I spent today or this week or this month, and what's my ground? Like, do I have a buffer? So that's what Zazu was trying to do. So it grew. I became very popular with a lot of people, a lot of communities in Lusaka and Zambia. But then we ran into an issue that it's working so well that we're not making any money because we kind of like come up with this beautiful product that people don't want to pay for.
How were you meant to make money?
So we wanted to introduce like premium products where we can then charge you to have a card, but people are like, no, I don't want to pay to have a card because they're already used to having it for free. And they're sending money to each other for free.
But couldn't you make your money as opposed to people, you charging for the card, you charge per transaction maybe?
Yeah, I think it's always like a balance. If you train your customers to expect free things, I think it's be very, very hard. If you look at Zona was very popular at some point, but the minute they introduced like a fee.
No, I mean like even when you're using a debit card, right? Or when you're transacting mobile money, MTN, Airtel, Zamtel, whichever, every transaction comes with a small fee, 3-4 kwacha. I mean, those accumulated I think could take you to what you're projecting in terms of a subscription sort of fee per month. Don't you think it could work out that way?
No, it could have, but in the end, we made a decision that it was far much better to stop developing Zazu and to build a new model. So what we've come up with now is ChitChat, which is...
What does Zazu mean?
Zambia and Zimbabwe united.
Really?
No. Serious.
I am the embodiment of Zazu. Zambia and Zimbabwe united.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
What it really meant, yes.
That's actually dope, man.
Yeah?
That's actually dope.
Yeah. So what we've done now is to come up with ChitChat. You still get an app on your phone and you still get a card. The card is in US dollars because when we're doing Zazu, a lot of the transactions we were experiencing were people transacting overseas. And because you have to convert kwacha into dollars, so we now have to incur a lot of fees. So now the base currency on ChitChat is US dollars. You can use that to send to Airtel money, and the person you're sending money to receives Zambian kwacha, which is...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Which is like been a very interesting experience for me because volume-wise, we're now matching what I used to do with Zazu with less customers.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, the distance here is affecting me a little bit. You're saying I can actually transfer money to somebody in Zimbabwe using the app?
Yeah. So you get a card,
right,
like this.
Uh-huh.
You swipe with this card anywhere on the internet. You can pay for Netflix. You can pay at ShopRite. And what we've done inside ChitChat is you can send from your ChitChat wallet into somebody's phone number in Zimbabwe. You can send into somebody's phone number in Tanzania. You can send to a Chinese bank account.
Wait.
If I send money, we can do a test.
Dude, wait. So doesn't this is way better than the money transfer platforms?
Absolutely. I was about to bring that up.
All right, let's do a test.
I think you've done enough marketing. Not many times we have transfer money to the country.
Is it possible or not?
You can send to me.
Yeah?
God.
No.
Are we able to get a camera to his phone?
Or is he able to send us
Screenshots.
screen recording or something? Yeah, send us a screen recording of what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to
Just walk us through it.
Yeah. We're going to do a test. I'll use my ChitChat. Yeah. And I want to send to Perseus. So I find Perseus and I put there. I select. I'm going to send to his UK bank account, right? So I send $15 and it will give me, it's just calculating, it will give me $16.75 including fees, and I get £10.53.
What's the fee again?
$1.75.
Right. No.
Okay, right? So you see that? I continue. Where did I get the money? Uncle Elson, purpose of transaction, family maintenance. So
Are you actually sending us the $50 right now?
Elson, I'll honestly rather.
Are you actually sending it to him right
No,
now?
I'm sending to me.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
continue. Right?
Jazz voice.
No, that's the jealousy. The sherry.
Next. So I'll continue, right?
Enter your passcode.
Yeah, it's just loading. So that's been sent. So keep looking at the phone, right? Let me go there, close that.
Please don't show your messages to obvious.
I know, right?
So you're going to get a notification saying the transaction is complete.
I'm going to get a notification from my bank in the UK to say I've received it.
Is that how quick it is?
Takes less than 3 minutes.
Dude,
No, so like
this actually sorts out and...
So there it is. Is that it?
yeah,
Is that the
look.
notification?
So I've received £10.54
No.
into my Lloyd's account in the UK.
Dude.
Eh?
Mukuru, Western Union.
Wow. So wait,
Only hold on. Faster than this is Elson.
With, let's not say where. Dude, so I can send, but then the person I'm sending to has to be on ChitChat as well.
Oh. I've sent to my bank account with a different bank in the UK.
Dude,
So I've sent money to the UK in less than 2 minutes.
can I be part of the marketing team for this
Yeah,
product?
for sure.
And I'll tell you why.
Why?
just a few days ago, I was sending money to someone via Western Union. First of all, the transaction fee was way bigger than $1. The transaction fee on its own. Then I had to be in a queue for more than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So the pain points I have, you've sorted all that out in one app.
Let me tell you one thing that I've just seen here. So my son is in school in Zim. All right. And I literally have to send money every single month to Zim.
Wow.
When you use Mkuru, you have to go to a booth.
Yeah.
You have to create
The order.
Right, you have to create the order. That's the word I was looking for. You have to create the order, etc. Are we good? All right. We have to create the order and all that. And all that inconvenience.
It's gone.
Well, so what countries are you able to send money to?
India, China, Malaysia, Japan, the US. You can send to over 10,000 banks in America. South Africa, you can send to a bank account.
Well, good.
Zimbabwe, you can send cash. You can send.
So
If I open what you just said, everything you're saying is you have to leave the house.
You have to.
Yes,
Yeah.
precisely.
You have to. With this, I don't need to leave the bed.
Walk me the bed. Walk me through the process. So you open a ChitChat account.
So you download the ChitChat app from the App Store or Play Store. You take a picture of your ID and then we verify your wallet. Once it's verified, you can deposit money into ChitChat from your Airtel or your MTN. So you send X amount of kwacha, you get X amount of dollars. Once it's in there, you get a card that you can swipe with at any shop or use on the internet, like for Netflix, for Spotify. If you want to buy from Shein.com, you get the card. You can also send money to other people in ChitChat. So what we wanted to do was, so I have a lot of friends who are around the world and they're always asking me, how can I send you money for your birthday or my children's birthday? So what I can do, I can open up a chat. So if I open up a chat in ChitChat with somebody, what I can do here is to click the pay button and I can send that person like
within the chat.
Within the chat.
So it's like WeChat.
So the central insight here is that what we have so far is relying on a lot of foreign technologies.
Like WeChat.
Yeah. And I think there's going to come a time when it will be a mistake to rely on platforms that you don't own. So if you're a politician today and you're watching events happening around the world, you'll be asking yourself, how secure is my data that if I'm chatting with you and you're the minister of whatever, the stuff that we're saying to each other, is it secure? If we're doing it on a platform which is not ours.
Look what happened in America when they were discussing war plans on
and they added a journalist.
A journalist. What app was that?
Signal. Yeah. So you have to ask yourself, the world that we live today is so different from what it was like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you could get away with like using messaging platforms for government that are not owned by the government, right? You could get away with relying on a lot of things which are not yours, but that world is going away quite quickly. Nothing is going to happen because nothing ever happens, but there's going to come a time where it's going to become a weakness for politicians or for government or for serious people to be chatting about sensitive stuff that they only want their departments to know on differently owned platforms. So what we've done is to create ChitChat. It's a messaging app to begin with, and this can be given to Elson Enterprise. It can be given to the Republic of Elson, and they can own that, right?
So you can white label it.
Correct. So they can have their own chat app that they use that we don't have any eyes into, only them control.
Your marketing is terrible. I'll tell you that right now.
Back in progress.
Which is why I rushed to talk about marketing.
The only marketing that I've seen is a billboard that you have as you're heading towards the airport.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's
It doesn't say exactly. It doesn't say precisely what it is.
So it is a work in progress. The marketing right now, the debit cards only arrived like last week.
All right.
So we started.
don't worry, I'll be in the office in the afternoon.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what we've done then is to then say, if anything ever happened, what should we have access to? Number one, whether the times are good or the times are hard, you should always be able to send a message to each other. You want to be able to send money directly and quickly as possible. If I try to pay somebody in a different country from here, that money still has to go through America. And as a result, there's a $35 minimum fee that I'm paying and there's a 2-day waiting period for you to receive that money. So that's not conducive to a country or a continent that has got ambitions for the future.
2 days. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly.
So
2 days is a long time.
Ain't nobody got
You're in hospital.
you know how they say you never want to see how a sausage is made.
Yeah.
I hear if you swipe your card and it's declined, you charge $1 for declined transactions.
No. So on your physical card, we don't charge. On your virtual card, we charge.
Why?
And the reason is, when we were doing Zazu, we would allow people to create as many virtual cards as possible. So people would have like 20 virtual cards. And what they would do, they would get a card and then put that on Netflix, not have any money to pay for it. And then Netflix tries to get their money from us. We don't have the money. And they try like 20 times. When they try 20 times, we're being charged $1 per attempt. So when they try to get money from your wallet and you don't have money, we still have to pay them for that process. Yeah. So in the end, it was like, do we as a business pay for that, or do we let the customer pay for that?
Right. It's like a bounce check.
Correct.
Speaking of sausage, do you know you have to ferment the meat a bit when making sausage?
In what way?
That's why they say never. What's the phrase again?
You don't want to see a sausage being made.
You don't want to see a sausage being made. Yeah, I used to make sausages for pocket money.
Oh my!
Straight out to high school.
Everything you've done. I'm telling you the truth.
So this is quite funny because last weekend I was making sausages.
You really?
I bought a mincer from this new shop at East Park. So with my son, we just like spend Saturday
making sausages.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a trick. When you buy the meat, just leave it overnight, even just like on the kitchen counter. Let it ferment just a bit. It makes the best sausage. So when you ferment sausage, it reduces the pH of the sausage and gives it a more distinct flavor.
Is that what you're Googling just now?
No. I used to make sausage, bruh.
It's a self-made man.
Remember,
It's not like you.
we talk about me dropping out from college, but when I was in college, this is how I made pocket money. I used to work for my aunt, and that aunt really inculcated the entrepreneurial spirit into me. Like, we'd wake up at 3 every morning to make sausages, chop chickens,
Yeah. All right.
open up fish and whatever. And it's be 3 a.m. every day for a full year. Imagine that.
Yeah.
So I know for sausage, we'd buy like a whole thigh of a cow,
Yeah.
and we'd just leave it there to ferment a bit.
A whole cow.
Yeah, like the thighs.
okay.
We'd buy thighs, maybe like 4 or 5 thighs, and just leave
He
it.
doesn't have a white wife. Where would he get the money?
For what?
To buy a whole cow. Not to buy a whole cow.
Yeah, but anyway, I was just...
No, I think it's a good process, right? Because it teaches you the value of hard work.
Dude, I learned hard work from my mom's older sister.
So now are you inculcating that to your daughters?
I have started.
Yeah.
My kids don't get anything for free.
Yeah.
You want a new tool, you're going to work for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have? You said 3.
3.
How old?
The oldest one is turning 7 in November. So 7, 3, 1.5.
These are the ones that we know.
These are the ones I know. Yeah.
I like how he says, I know.
Though we might be similar background, but that's a heavier.
The times that you're in Nanga,
We're not
in the bush.
At that point, I was very focused on my work.
So that's not
Just number one, ChitChat. That's ChitChat. No, you said it's a work in progress. Where are you right now, and how are you feeling about where you are? Like, are you ready to go full blown into the market now? What's happening there?
We've got like a 2-phase launch strategy. We want to introduce the cards, which we started to do, into Zambia. So you're going to see more marketing coming up, more promotional offers. So as many people as possible start to use ChitChat. And then once we've kind of like got into a certain position in Zambia, we then want to allow as many people as possible from the continent to sign up for ChitChat. So what we've done, the reason we came to Zambia is because Zambia has got great like financial regulation laws that allow you to be able to aggregate like all of this investment.
So does South Africa really?
No, not really. South Africa's got like extreme financial controls.
They do, yeah.
They do. Yeah.
AML especially.
I think our AML is competitive in South Africa, but in terms of like, if you're a South African person, you can't have a foreign account and use it for like $15,000 of things. Yeah. So it's quite restricted in what you can and cannot do. And what we've built is not just for me and you. It's not just for like Zambians. It's for people in Angola, in Mozambique who want to sign up for it. So we don't want to just serve the Zambian market.
Right.
Eventually, we want as many people as possible from all these different countries to start using our products.
So, another thing, I just want to back up a little. Under Zazu, there was an API that you guys had or that you were using.
Union 54.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was an issue that happened with a card where the chargeback was $500,000.
Brother. 1.5 billion.
1.5 million?
Billion. With a
Make a home for that.
So, what we did with Zazu was so beautiful in that it allowed anybody to sign up on an app and get a card, right? So a lot of times to get a card, you have to go to a bank. To get a bank account, you need like $20 minimum account opening fees. So we realized that for us to scale, we need to do what we did with Zazu and package it in a way that another fintech in Uganda can use to issue their own cards. Another fintech in South Africa can use to issue their own cards. So we did that, and over a year or so, we managed to get like double digits fintech using this API. But the issue that they all had is what you're asking, why do you charge for a decline fee? So one fintech issues 10,000 cards. 8,000 people try to use those cards, but they don't have money in them. And Netflix is trying to debit 8,000 cards
They
3
bound
times a month.
Right, so they'll charge.
So they would charge. And all of those fees, because we are the ones who were working directly with the card issuers, would then come on to us. So we ended up having like $1.5 billion worth of decline.
Of chargebacks.
Correct. So what we wanted to do is we took our time, like putting a lot of heavy controls in the new product, ChitChat.
Did you take it down though?
We took it down straight away. So we shut it down.
To help me understand, the 1.5 billion, is this money that you actually mandated to pay, or?
I like your confidence in me.
I just want to understand where that went to. Like,
No, so the
you
people
replied
we were
to pay
working with had to end up paying.
1.5 billion.
No, so this was negotiated, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But I think the insight here, or the key takeaway, was that you cannot have access to global products and expect not to pay. So if you want to go to South Africa today, you might have to call your bank and say, hey, I'm going to Durban. Can you please make sure my card works? When you get a ChitChat card, it works from day one. It's all done. So we've got customers who collected their cards on Friday last week. They've gone to like Europe, they've gone to Asia, and they're now using it.
Can I have the card?
Yeah, of course.
Who's got his card?
No, a card, not his card.
Yeah, sign up. We'll get you one.
Give me.
So,
Give me. No.
There you go.
No.
what do we have in here?
Yeah?
Cards and...
There you go. Talking about cards. So you can have
so
some
much.
merch.
Thank you.
Is this a
I've got
card?
logo.
there.
Yes.
Okay.
That was my next question.
Huh?
So, did you? Okay, no, let's get gifts first.
Yeah?
Umbrellas
For days.
Ella.
So I bought 3 t-shirts.
Did you give me the biggest one?
I bought you the smallest one.
No, small is for him. Do you see this belly?
Eh?
No, what brand is it?
Small,
Gob small.
XL, large,
Okay, let me do large.
XL. I'll take the XL.
What is this?
XL.
XL.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
We love guests that come with gifts. We appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
For your cousin or something, the big one.
When you decide to rebrand
Yeah.
to ChitChat, did you raise any more money?
No. So what we had done with Zazu was to go through an excellent program called Y Combinator. So Y Combinator is like a program where they bring like companies from around the world.
Which I called you about.
Yes. And then, so the good thing is when you want to build an international company, there are other people like you who are thinking the same thing.
Right.
So this is like pretty much like an intensive learning process for like 3 months where you grow, you get taught how to speak about your business, how to understand your numbers in and out, how to think about developing products, how to work with all of these partners. So we went through that program And then at the end, or about 2-3 years later, we managed to raise some money. So we had to really prove ourselves, continue to work on
This will come in. Yeah. Did you hear what he just said?
What did you just say?
He says they managed to raise some money. So ask the question.
How much?
So all in all, we raised about $15 million for Union 54.
Tell me the total.
15.
It's more than that.
In what way?
Stop, just 15.
It is 15.
I heard a bigger number than that.
From who?
Doesn't matter. I heard $36 million.
A lot of grapes. He's been shitting in the grapevine a little too much.
No.
Yeah.
I think they're confusing me with another company from Y Combinator in Tanzania.
Or how much they get?
Around 30. I think he's thinking about Nala, Benji from Nala.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So you got $15 million.
15.
So is that what you're working with now?
Yeah.
How much is that in Kwacha?
Times 20, about 400 million kwacha.
See why I say this guy's got enough money?
No, 15 million. About 350
They're very good.
million kwacha.
Yeah. So we went through that program and a lot
Like
of
how you just quickly move past it. Your wires that are raised watching this?
oh, they know.
Oh, it's that money they're gonna know.
They know.
Even if you're saying no one's gonna know, they're gonna know.
They're gonna know.
They're gonna know.
No, but I think you don't have to think about it as like, if there's anybody out there who wants to work on a company, I think you should definitely do it because there's so much opportunity. And what we've been able to kind of do over the years is figure out a way to give people what they're looking for. All right. So with ChitChat, we've got these cards, which are US dollars, and they're quite popular at the minute with people who are just signing up because again, you can travel. So instead of you being paid, being charged in kwacha when you're in Dubai, you get charged in dollars. So already on day one, you're saving money. Like if you use a lot of internet subscriptions, like when you pay for Netflix, your bank goes like 6-7% conversion fee that you don't see, right? So you're already saving money just by you moving into ChitChat.
That's one thing that I've also noticed because I've been using MTN. It was the quickest. So currently I'm using Zanaco. So I move money from my Zanaco into my MTN, and from MTN I send money to EcoCash. But then you'll quickly notice that the conversion rate that they use is ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. And I want to show you something quickly. So I'm in this WhatsApp group of Zimbabwean businessmen.
Okay.
And one thing that you will quickly notice, I'm just going to come here and I'm just going to type in, let me say, Harare. One thing that you will quickly notice is, do you see this? Good morning, I've got 250 in Harare. I need the same in Lusaka. Every single day, you'd get, see that? You'd get at the very least, 50 people that are saying I've got $1,000 in Harare. I need the equivalent in Lusaka, etc. Because they don't know of platforms like these. And I was speaking to a couple of companies, and I'm like,
no one mentions me in those groups, right?
No, you know, somebody can mention you.
All right. So at a cut, I'm very happy.
Of course.
To introduce you to these people.
Because do you know how much people are charging for this? A person would tell you to say, give me 10%. If you want $10,000,
1,000
of that, yes. And then I'll do the
so that's kind of like we've noticed a similar pattern where when we used to have Zazu, you would get people because you could buy Zesco. So when you buy Zesco, you don't get charged. But a few of our customers will then have the app and they'll be living in the compounds. And somebody will say, I want to buy Zesco. And that person doesn't know how to use Zazu. They don't know about Zazu. So they pay for 100 kwacha for Zesco and they get like 85 kwacha worth of Zesco. And the other guy takes a commission. So right now we've got people like you who are aware that ChitChat exists and they're taking a cut and then using ChitChat to fulfill those things. So they're making a profit. Yeah.
I like how the British accent keeps coming up more and more as we proceed.
Right? Now you're hearing. Yeah. You keep saying, no, I don't have an accent.
You notice how the T at the end of ChitChat went silent?
Right. ChitChat.
ChitChat. Dude, what's the... are there limits per transaction? What's the maximum I can send?
So in a day, what are you not telling us?
In what? In terms of...
I don't know. Is there
like a limit? Can I send $1 million?
My brother in the UK, he's like, why do I have a bank account when I can use... Why are you not telling me?
Yeah, what are you not telling me?
What's the limit? Can I send $1 million plus?
Use like $5,000.
5,000
in a month. It's like $20,000. Yeah.
Okay.
So $5,000 per what?
per 24-hour period.
All right.
So 5,000 from 10 a.m. today
To 10 a.m. the next day.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then in a month, it has to be
20.
So it's okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So again, you really have to think about the world that you want to contribute towards. So if you think 10, 15 years from now, you get people who've got access to like US dollar cards. Think about how much money you've saved just by not paying the conversion fees. Because what we're doing now is like collapsing remittances. Instead of paying $50 to send to EcoCash, I can send you money in a message for like 10 cents, and you can have a card that you then use to withdraw to Zimbabwe.
Perseus. But why that's small limit? And I call it small because what if I'm trying to buy a car from South Africa? That's like $20,000 in one day.
In one day. I think for that one, we still have to figure out how we do it in a way that Bank of Zambia would allow. But some of these limits were regulated by Central Bank of Zambia.
Also, that's a limit.
So that's a limit they've said.
Probably to prevent money laundering and things like that.
Yeah. So whose license are you running on for remittance?
Our license.
To all the countries.
Yeah.
Inbound and outbound.
Yeah.
You don't write on anybody else's license?
So we've done direct integrations into people that we work with in those countries.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. There's like a
No,
phase
there's
one
no
and phase-
way. Are you kidding me?
Why?
That's massive.
Yeah. You can send money to the UK.
Because, you know, companies like Mama Money, for example, you know it, right?
Yeah, South African.
Yeah. So one company, because I tried to do what you're doing around the time that we met, we said it too. But we were writing off a license from a company in Ghana, and we were being charged an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And we only had 4 corridors, basically. A bulk of it was from the UK to Zim, because you've got a lot of Zimbabweans in the UK, and they needed a solution to send money from the UK to Zim. We constituted of nearly 45% of the traffic that these companies saw.
The partner.
Right, yeah. But then the charges just did not make any sense.
They just scale up.
And, man. So, as we tried to apply to the Bank of Zambia, and I ran into this lady at East Park who actually tried to help me with this. Just the process of getting
A license.
a license was insane. So the only other
18
thing,
months to get our license.
exactly why I'm shocked. The only other thing that I then tried to do was to partner with the company owned by EcoCash in Zim, Sasai. Because, you know, they've got a remittance license as well, right? So a lot of companies, especially when you're in remittance, you end up partnering where you write on the license, and you find out what corridors they are on. So over and above what you're doing, that's one of the things I don't need to tell you this, you can make money from.
Yeah.
The fact that you've already done all the legwork to do the integrations into the partners that you're working with. You already have your licenses. That's big.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where you also have to think about how many partners do you want to work with so that a transaction can get there quite quickly.
In South Africa, what partners do you have?
So we can send to pretty much all of the banks in South Africa.
Because I know South Africa, it is almost it's really difficult to send money there. Are there any hoops that I need to be aware of if I need to send money to SA?
So when you're sending money to SA, you have to receive what they call a mandate form that you receive, and then you sign this to say I'm receiving an inward transaction, so that the central bank can have that on record. That's the first time you use it. The second time, you just smoothless.
Okay. So almost all the banks in SA.
Correct.
And in Zim?
In Zim, let's see, South Africa, bank transfer.
If you don't have the answers now, it's okay.
I've used WeChat before, but this is way more interesting
what
because
WeChat
I was thinking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So in South Africa, you can send to ABSA, Access, African Bank,
FNB,
Bank of China, Bank Zero, Bidvest, BNP, Capitec, China Construction Bank, Citibank. Oh, there's a lot.
FNB we could go on for a while. Yeah, FNB is there.
Yeah, FNB is there.
I'm good then.
Yeah.
You had me at FNB.
There you go. So I like what WeChat has done, right? They just completely made it so easy for people to just transact.
It's the future.
Yeah.
It is the future. And
I
ChitChat
think
is
that will-
our WeChat now.
Yeah.
You can now make it the African theme.
Correct.
For transaction, you know what I mean?
How do you bring on more fintech partners to give you that structure in those countries? And how do you get more people involved?
And it also helps that China is one huge country.
Yeah.
Imagine if Africa was one huge united country.
This is impressive.
It is.
I'll tell you that.
I'm mind blown.
Yeah, so we're quite excited about what ends up happening. So we've got the product, we've got the customers now. It's up to us to just execute on that and continue to develop products. So we've got a product coming up soon, like a family account. So you get an account, Elson, with your 16 children in 16 different countries. 17, yeah? And then he can give each of them a debit.
With one on the way, by the way.
4, yeah.
My man.
And they can see exactly how they're spending money. So you're teaching about financial literacy and you pay only like $10, $15 a month for that family account. And your children each have a card that they're using.
So does it have one pool account that it pulls from?
You know, you send money to their sub accounts. So you would open an account, Elson family, and then, we've got a new baby, add another account for new baby. So you send money from your account to their account.
Right.
Wow.
What can you have? Can you have an instance where you're able to pull from one account?
If you wanted to, yeah.
Because I'm looking at a scenario where, for whatever reason, you forget to add money to a sum account, or you are just not able to, and it's then declined.
Yeah.
If it can just pull from one, especially if it's your kids, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So even the same solution, we've got a few companies who are going to start using it. So you're at Taonga and you've got like 6 trucks and they're going into the Congo to do whatever they do there. You want to be able to give your drivers a way to spend money on the road versus right now where they get cash and they get into one country, it's a different currency, get into another country, it's a different currency. So with this solution, you can literally send money to truck 1, truck 2, truck 3, and they can decide how to use that money. If they want to send to mobile money, they use the app. Do they want to swipe at the toll gate? They use the card. So we've got like some of these interesting products that are going to be coming out in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
This is very interesting. And I feel, I've said this before, you might have an incredible product, but if not too many people know about it, it's like you're winking in the dark. Only you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So your product is only as good as how many people are aware of it. And there's so many things that you're able to do. I'm actually going to try out ChitChat. And I don't want to sound like a commercial, right?
Yeah.
But I send money between 2 countries predominantly, South Africa and Zimbabwe, every single month. If I can find the cheapest, the most convenient way, that's what, right now, let me show you something.
Try your first transfer.
Hold on. Let me show you something.
Yeah.
You might think that I am just 2 days ago. I'll show you this. And this basically cuts out everything. Just 2 days ago, I had to send my driver.
You have a driver, Elson?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I had to send him to Western Union to go and send money. And he had to rush there before it closes.
Yeah.
And the thing with Western Union, listen to this bullshit. They will tell you that you cannot. They will tell you that you are not able to send beyond a certain amount without an affidavit. They have to go to the police.
No.
I promise you. Get an affidavit.
That you're doing what?
That just so
They don't give you enough money.
They give you a cap that you can't send beyond a certain amount.
So you need an affidavit to increase.
No. So if you're not sending like 20 grand, for example, you need an affidavit for that. So you go to the police and you tell them the reason why you're sending them that amount of money.
So these are the hopes that we kind of like, we can abstract away, we can remove by having simpler solutions. And try your first transfer on ChitChat and let me know how it goes. Yeah? Yeah.
I'm on
you
today.
On me? Who's me? Who?
You, Perseus.
Dude, you need to treat us like we are junkies and you're the drug dealer. The first pop should always be free.
But you want $1,000.
Okay, not 1,000, maybe 100. Yeah.
So what are you gonna give me that I'll try out?
100.
Could you?
500.
How much? Will you put in my wallet?
I put 30 for you.
30 what?
$1,000. How much is $30? Your child can buy my food, blankets.
Sha, and do this.
Turn it in. 600-700 kwacha.
Perseus, can you respect me?
All right, somebody will in touch with you to negotiate your freebie.
I know where your office is. I'm coming to your office.
Yeah,
Please still at the same spot, right?
No, we're now in Millennium Village by Los Angeles Road.
Yeah, I know where Millennium Village is.
Lydian.
Oh, you left that at the spot?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't pay rent?
No. It was just
You come in too expensive.
Just
Well, yeah,
coming to
Millennium
expensive.
Village is a little cheaper.
yeah, and it's very central to where our customers are.
But Speedpay used to be there. There's a guy that I know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
Maybe
did
that
know the
mentioned me to you a few years ago.
Possibly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is he still here?
Yeah, he is. He's into tech as well. He's creating software for gas stations.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
fam.
it's been a very good chat. I hope.
But fam,
What did you think about it, though?
I thought it was good.
Given that we had to have somebody literally twist your arm.
Yes. So shout out to Tandy. She's the one who forced me.
let me just
Like,
give a
need to
shameless
go on
plug.
Ellison.
Yeah. Sorry, shameless plug. Guys, we've supported so many foreign products for far too long, and finally we have something that's locally made. This one was made right here in Zambia, right? Something that we can use to transfer money across borders. And just full disclosure, I'm not being paid to say this, but I just think it's something that we should support, especially when it comes
100%.
to international money transfers and also just the ease of transferring money. For me, I'm sold on this, and I'm coming to get the card today with the $30 you've promised Elson and I.
Yeah.
I will be there right after this. So guys, please check out ChitChat. How can they find you again?
Send on the App Store.
App Store.
Chat because money talks.
ChitChat, because money talks.
Yes.
So App Store, Google Play,
Everything.
try it out now and get the cards where from?
And get the cards from our office. We can send them to you.
Oh, you send the cards to people?
If they ask
Across
for
the
it.
country.
Yeah, because I'm guessing your offices are only in Lusaka.
So we've got offices in Lusaka, but we're coming up with agents in different parts of the country.
Right.
So you'll be able to order the card, and the app will say, please go to our agent, Elson. He's found here in Livingston.
Right, got it.
Go get the card.
Got it. I think this is like the pure definition of Zambia Kuchalo.
Yep.
Because this literally you're sending money to the world.
Yep. Using an Ask Me right here.
What I love about our audience is we've got a very diverse audience. And there are people that typically need a product like this.
Yeah.
And there are people that will resonate with precisely everything that you have just said. And a lot of the time, people don't even realize how much money they are paying because of the whole convergence rate.
So we charge like $5 to get the card. So we had a customer walk through our office, like very upset, like, why are you charging $5? It used to be free. I get this free card from a bank. So as a matter of like going through what they're saying, we said, okay, let's sit down. Let's do the calculations. How much do you think you paid your bank last month? And they said 0. Everything is free. The card transaction, everything is free.
No, it's not.
So they download the CSV, they go through the exercise. Thankfully, they wanted to learn. And by the end, they had paid 750 kwacha that they didn't know about.
In the bank.
Yeah. Therefore, it was free. And they were like, why am I being charged for sending to airtime or buying airtime or buying Let's Go? Why am I being paid for
Even
sending?
the card is not free. Remember, every time you get the card, there's a charge that comes at the end of the month.
They thought everything was free. So when you look at like, we charge 100, 120 kwacha now for the card, right? And people, I think it's a learning process. But to your point about diversity, so our top three biggest markets to send money to, India. Like, we've got a lot of Indian customers who get $20, $30 every day, and they're sending it to their families.
Wow.
Which is quite interesting for me.
Sachin,
Eh?
what's my camera?
Sachin has a million plus relatives in India.
Okay, yeah. So, and then you get people like Elson, who've got family in Zimbabwe, and they send like only once at the end of the month. But whereas the Indian cultures like they send 2-3 times a day, right? But the quantum is still the same over the month or whatever. And then so India, Rwanda, and the UK.
Did I miss something? Are you able to also send to a mobile money number?
In
From
Rwanda?
ChitChat? No, here.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you can send money to any
Correct.
platform that's already
Yeah.
existing.
You can send to Airtel, to MTN, you can send to numbers.
Dude, I'm so
in
Rwanda.
Rwanda, you can send to phone numbers in Tanzania.
Another thing that, and it's incredible that we're having this conversation now. Just the other day, did you see that Zimbabwe has launched its first virtual bank?
Really?
TN.
TN?
You remember TN?
No.
Subsidiary of Econet.
No. What do they do? Remember them from where? So it's a digital bank now?
Yes.
Okay, that's incredible.
No branches, nothing.
It's like, which one in South Africa? Netbank?
No, Time Bank.
Time.
And What's Capitec, I think?
Capitec, yeah.
Yeah, and Capitec. So they send the cards to you. They're partnered with supermarkets. So you go to your nearest supermarket that I won't say that they've partnered with, and you're going to pick up your card there.
Correct.
So
No, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
I think the goal is to be able to say
no.
Yeah.
Precious, is there anything that you feel we're gonna
Not precious.
I said precious.
Say what?
Yes.
Precious.
Yes.
Not precious?
No. Perseus.
Oh, it's not precious. It's Perseus.
Yes. Well done. Yeah.
Anything that you thought we're gonna talk about that we haven't touched on? Pretty much.
We could have a part 2.
Yeah.
We could have a part 2.
Okay.
Please send me that screen recording so that we can play that as you were doing the transaction. Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool.
Any ladies watching a single?
We are glad you're not here. You know the software we use picks up all sound, right?
It's obviously a joke, though.
Obviously a joke. Till the next, you're going to be watching this. Until next week, good people. Deuces.